Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Power Platform TV. Today, we're going to talk about unified routing, and we're going to talk about how unified routing comes into play when we use the customer service functionality in D365. So, there's a lot of stuff out there regarding customer service at the moment. We got the Customer Service Workspace app, we got Omnichannel, we got Customer Service Hub, we got the new app coming out that's called Customer Service Admin Center. So there's a lot of stuff that's in play at the moment, and we're going to kind of talk about how all this fits together, and we're going to look at unified routing and how that comes into play as well. So there's so much good stuff out there at the moment, and more good stuff that's coming out from the product groups of Microsoft. So let's start here. I have the Customer Service Hub app open. If I click on it, we can see here these are the apps that I have in my system, and I don't have the latest Customer Service Admin Center app here, which is in preview at the moment. It's out there in some environments. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this example using the Customer Service Hub app, and then you'll see over time anyway, once they migrate all the functionality into the new Admin Center app, it's going to probably work in a very similar way. So let's go back to the Customer Service Hub app, and here we're going to go down to the bottom, and we have service at the bottom selected, and I'm going to go ahead and select service management, okay? And when we get over to service management, we see here unified routing, right? So that's really where we're going to focus in today's video. I'm going to talk about what this really is, what it means, how it's used. We'll go through an example. So this is what Microsoft is describing as their enterprise-grade routing functionality, right? And where this really comes into play is when a record is created in the Dataverse, we need to do something with it. We need to get it to the right people to address the created record, right? And the most simple example is a case. So when a case gets created from something a customer does, so if they need some help with something, they'll go through the many channels available to contact the organization, and the organization will then be able to deal with the case. And this is really where the terminology of omnichannel comes in, because there's so many different areas that a customer can, there's so many different ways that a customer can contact a company, right? And there should be so many ways, because the idea of omnichannel is that you want to be able to give customers many opportunities to contact you so that you can address any concerns that they have. And then once they have contacted you, on the other side of that, the way that your organization handles all these requests from the different channels is where applications like Omnichannel and Customer Service Workspace come into play, because they take these requests and they allow organizations to handle them in a uniform way. Okay, so rather than going into different places to handle different cases coming in, there's a single uniform way for your agents to be able to address any concerns or requests that your customers have. So let's go through an example of how to build out a case routing in the Customer Workspace application, and we'll see how this all fits together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to click on Record Routing, and here we will create a new record. So we're going to click Add here. And this is where we select the record type, okay? So if I take a look at the record types available, we have all of these different record types available that we can create records for. And what we're going to do is create one for case here, okay? So when cases come in, this is where we're going to set up the functionality to route the cases appropriately. So I'll go ahead and click Add here, and it says here that the case record type has been created. So now let's go and configure it. So I'm going to click onto it. And then you see here we have these different things that we can now set up. So we have intake rules, we have work streams, we have basic routing rule sets, okay? And so this is all of this type of terminology that comes into play with how we're going to route these records. And where I'm going to start is work streams. And you can see here it says work stream settings will be used to route records to the right queues and agents, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and create a new work stream. So I'll click on Create Work Stream. And here we can provide the name of the work stream. and I'm going to call this, I have this one already here, case workstream, okay? So that's just the name of the workstream, and we're going to select the type here. We have these different types. We have messaging, record, and voice, and I'm going to select record for this workstream, okay? So when case records are created, we're gonna get them to come into this workstream, and here we have the work distribution mode. So you can see here that there's the two types of push and pick, right? So push is when incoming conversations will be assigned to agents automatically based on the capacity and presence, and you can also allow picking of the open work items that go unassigned. And then the pick here is incoming conversations will go to an open item status and a section of the agent's dashboard. So then the agents can proactively select which cases that they want to work on, right? So they won't be assigned the cases, but they'll see there's open cases out there and they can select them. So what we're going to do is we're going to use push, and we'll see that these cases get routed and then assigned appropriately to the agents. Okay, so I'm going to select push here. I'm going to click create. And now we have the intake rules, we have the routing rules, and we have the work distribution. And we can see, if I just scroll down here, the work distribution has been set properly. It says push to this work distribution. Okay. And then we have the allowed presences here. So if the agent is in any of these presences, we're going to push. And we have the capacity here of 30. It's going to be 30 unit based. Okay. So we've spoken about capacity in previous videos, and this is the capacity that will be assigned. All right. So next up is what we want to do is go to work classification. So we have the routing rules, work classification, and it says add detailed information to incoming work items with classification rules. So this allows for more precise routing and assignment, right? So that's exactly what we want to do. So let's go ahead and create a rule set. So this will allow us to do the routing. We're going to click on create new here. And here we have the two different types of rules that we can utilize, okay? So if it's manual, then we can go ahead and just create, we can just put a name in here, and then we'll be able to set up our rules. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to call this route cases. And then when I click on create here, we can go and assign the rules to this work classification. The other interesting one here is the machine learning model. And you can just see that there's so much work that's been done by the product group on this. And here we can select the type of machine learning models here. So we have the skill identification, sentiment prediction, effort estimation, and then once you click on one of these, then you select you can select further things down here. And so there's lots of cool things regarding machine learning that have been built into unified routing. And that's a whole other story. We'll go into that another time. But for the moment, we're going to go with manual, and let's go ahead and click create. And then that takes us over here to the decision list, where we can then go ahead and create work classification rules, okay? So now let's go ahead and create a rule. And the scenario that I want to kind of go through here is when a case comes in, cases could be either for, in our case, let's say in this example, for support people or for salespeople, okay? So that's a typical kind of scenario. When a customer contacts you, they either want some new functionality, they want to sign up for something. So that's on the sales side. And then if they need some help with something and they're an existing customer, then we would probably route them to support, maybe something more technical or something like that, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to basically take what I said and build that into the conditions here, right? So for the rule name, I'm going to call this classify and then sales. And what we'll do is we will use this as the sales example of work classification. So we can see here already under conditions, it says the routed record for case contains data. Okay, so that's good. We'll keep that one in there. And then it says add and then we're going to add. So here we can add a row, a group, or a related entity. We're going to add row. And then we will select here. This is all the fields in the case entity, right? The case table. And if we scroll down, we have the description. And what I'm going to say is if the description contains new customer, right? So when the case is entered, if the words new customer are in the description, then we're going to, in our output here, we're going to select skills, and we're going to look for someone that has the skill of sales and is proficient in that skill, okay? So I'm going to go and save and close here and click create, and we can see that we have this work classification rule set up now, okay? So similarly, we can do one with support. So I'm going to click here, classify support, and I will select here a row. I'm going to do the same thing with the description. I'm going to say this time contains the word help, okay? So if the word help's in the description, it's going to be a sales case. That's what I'm saying. Same thing here. We're going to select skills, and this time we're going to say support is equal to proficient. And these skills I did go through in a skill-based routing video for Omnichannel. I'll put that in the links below, and you know, we can, you know, I encourage you to take a look at that video because it has a lot of good stuff around how these skills work. Okay, we're going to take a quick look at how the skills work right now as well, just to give you a quick overview. But basically, firstly, I'm just going to click close and save, and click create. And if I just pop back over here to this tab, this is the Omnichannel admin app, and we can see here that under queues and users, we have this skills area. And so this is what I had set up in a different video. And if we go into sales, for example, we can see here that I have this bookable resource that I set up as myself as proficient. If I go into it, you know, I'm the agent that has a proficient skill level. So that's all good there. And then if I go back, and if I go here to support, we can see that David so has a proficient skill level for support. Okay, so that's how that's kind of like a very, very high level overview of how these skills are set up in the system. So now I'm going to go back to Customer Service Hub, and we have the work classification set up. So I'm going to click back here, and let's go back again, and we get back to the main page here. And so now we have the work classification set up here, and we have all of this set up. So now the kind of the last thing to do is to set up the intake rule, okay? So let's create the rule, and basically what we're saying here is we're going to say case intake is the name. And so this is where we could route any other potential conditions off our case or anything else, and then we can map it to where we want it to go, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm not going to put any conditions here, which basically means that all cases that come in will be mapped to this work stream, right? And it's going to be the case work stream that we created, okay? So in the real world, you may have specific cases that you'll want mapped to specific work streams. But in this case, I'm going to keep it really simple, and I'm just going to map everything to this case work stream. Now I'm clicking create, and let's just say create without condition because it's realizing that there's no conditions in there. So that's fine. We're good with that. And you can see this little warning message here, and it basically says it will always evaluate to true, and therefore subsequent rules won't be executed if there was any subsequent rules, right? So let's kind of like do a little overview. So anytime a case gets created, it's going to come into this it's going to come into here, into this case intake. That's going to send it over to the case work stream. The case work stream has this rule set to route cases. And within those, that rule set, we have some logic that basically says if it's a support case, go one way. If it's a sales case, go the other way. And by those ways, I mean it will find agents that have proficient skill levels and route them accordingly. So if we scroll down a little bit here, we have the workstream distribution, and that all looks good, except we have here the default skill matching algorithm. So I'm going to go ahead and click See More. And here we have the default skill matching algorithm. And if I click on this, it says, the selected skill matching algorithm will apply to each of the work items from this work stream. And here we're going to do we have it set to none. We're going to click on exact match. All right. Let's go ahead and do that and click save and close. And now this is all ready to go. So now let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. So I am in the Customer Service Workspace app. I'm going to go ahead here and let's create a new case. I'm going to click here and we will select a customer. And what we'll do is we're going to create a few cases. Let's just see how these get routed using unified routing with our setup. So I'm going to call this one support test one. And down here in the description, this is the field that we're looking at when we're deciding how to route our cases. So remember with support cases, we want to use the word help in the description, right? So if it's something like customer needs help setting up system, it will it'll find the word help in the description and then it'll route that accordingly, right? So I am going to click save and close here on this one. And I'm going to do a new case. And then the new case, let's say Coffee Lab here and new customer. And here is this is a new customer case. Okay, click save and close. And so now we have two cases that are being routed that should hopefully fall into those rules and route to our sales and support team appropriately. Okay, so you can see here I got this request. I'm going to click open, and so this is myself here signed in, and it's taking me to the case. And basically we get this says this is a new customer case. So you'll recall that I was set up as a salesperson, right, or someone with the proficient sales skills. So because I have that skill, I get the new customer support case coming in here. And if we go over to David over here, he's the one that has the support skill, and we can see here that he gets this support test one here. So I click on this one, it'll take us into this case, and we'll see this is the one with the word help in there, right? So let's take a look at how these cases get routed in the from a diagnostics perspective. So back over here in the Customer Service Hub, back in Unified Routing, we have Diagnostics here, right? So if I go ahead and click on Diagnostics, and then we can see here that these top two are the support cases that were created, or the cases really that were created. And the top one is the new customer one, and you can see here that got assigned to myself. And then we have the support test one here, and that was assigned to David, right? Now let's just go ahead and click into this one, and we'll take a look and see what this looks like. So we can see here that as part of the diagnostics, we have the intake, and then we have these other parts down here that we'll get to. So the first thing, the intake. So our intake case rule here was applied. Okay, so we see status is applied, big green checkbox, and so that's what that means, that it did hit this routing, this rule set, and basically it ran it. And this was the one where basically any case that comes in, it's going to assign it to the case work stream, right? So that's exactly what's happened, and that all looks good. So now if we go to classification, and then we click on route cases here, what we can see is that the rule here of classify support was applied because in this description, it contained the word help. Okay, so this was applied. The sales one was processed and it was not applied, right? So then finally, if we go down here to assignment, we can see here, it says, and if we just hover over this, right, it says base present status in conversation allowed. And so this is the conditions as to why it was routed to the particular agent. And then at the bottom here, we can see the user skills. Let me just bring that back up. User skills exact match, right? So that's what we did on the record to define we wanted an exact match, and that's why it's being routed this way. So that's the support one, and if we go back here, we can take a look at the new customer one. We're going to see something very similar, and you can see here if I go down to the classification, we can see that the sales was applied here because it contained new customer. And then if we go to the assignment, we can see here that the user had an exact match, and that's why they get that particular case routed to them. So that's a high-level overview of how the unified routing works. Hope you guys enjoyed.
So that's it, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course check out my blog at carldesouza.com. Thank you.